What it do? Snackers, snackettes, snackets, patrons.
Hold on, wait. Because remember, I got to take it from YouTube and put it in. It's a layer process here.
I understand. I still have to. I still have to say hi. We still in here.
They can't see it yet. They can't see it.
If they go behind us, though.
Listen, bro. Hold on.
He paused.
Give me a second, Sin. Let me talk to this man. Parent me. I know you just got off work, bro, but hold on a second. Unless you plan to edit this joint before it goes live to everybody else is still getting an intro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to take the same video. So if we just sit here with our arms crossed while you dillying and dallying, you know what I'm saying? They have nothing. Now they're going to get to see me giving it to you, you know what I'm saying? Giving you the business. You're going to have to.
Live and direct.
I was trying to make it easy on you. So we ain't had to do no extra work. Now you're going to have to. Now I got to wait. You going to give me accounting? You going to do like the old days professional joint? Like, just... Yeah. You know, my man don't even like to do the counting. He like to just sit there and wait. You know, it's beef for him. I thought you said you was a professional. You don't need no counting.
Oh shit.
Oh shit, boy. On them old coop days.
Oh, cool.
You got it. Straight up.
Exclusive.
I was trying to help you out. My man scolded me. Look at me with the I'm trying to make sure it's smooth.
Now it's on there. Well, go ahead and tap now.
What's that supposed to be? Counting? I don't know what that means, dog.
Did you say go ahead and tap? Like you want me to tap dance for you?
No, because that's what he was saying.
Me with the same man Sims, like just
I know, right? What's some type of cooney ass?
Shoot at your feet, Lance, boy. Like what?
Right.
Oh man, this the same man who literally said, "Yeah, I couldn't find a picture for us to use in the background." So I literally took the only picture I could find available for myself. Didn't like, oh well, we need a joint for the background.
Well,
like,
pause. That was what I was starting until I started doing this because I was going through looking for another one.
I got it. I took care of it, dog. I took care of it. We late. Let's get. Hey, dog. I know Sam asked you how was work, but clearly
it wasn't a good day.
My man, like I should have called out like I did yesterday.
I should have saved that for the day, damn it.
My man, like I'm about to call out on Lotus now. Guess what? You ain't got no leave, dogs.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man, I love you, jokes.
Love you too.
Nah, say it like you mean it, though. Don't give me that Scooby-Doo shit. Dog.
Love you too.
Thanks, buddy.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man, hit me with the rut roll. All right, man. You like what are we doing? Am I getting counted?
You're good. You're good.
Man, I'm just saying, like we just all right. Listen, for all of y'all who just got stuck listening to all of what was going on, bro. I gotta know something. The struggle is real some days. It's really real some days. So, welcome to some of the extra behind the scenes. This is what you get as a Patreon member. Most people are not going to get this. So, I have done the introduction once already. We're going to do it again. I appreciate y'all hanging in with us. You know what I'm saying? Welcome to your Spoiler Boys episode for The Marvels. We are, again, trying something new. We are going live first in Patreon. And we figure we'll do live episodes of Spoiler Boys possibly from here on out. So that we can make sure that you all get first dibs and actually can watch live as it's happening. And then we're still able to post at a good clip for everyone else, because with spoiler content, if it doesn't hit soon enough, it's just too far behind the zeitgeist for it to get views and stuff like that. And so we have to come up with another way to do it. And to be honest, I like the idea of being able to do something that's live here. So I have a favor to ask of those of you who might be watching along in Patreon right now. I don't think that there's currently a way for you to actually access chat from there where you're watching it. You could leave comments on the post, but we're not necessarily able to see that or see those in real time. If you are able to click the link that you have that's in the post and it takes you to YouTube and you're able to access it there and access chat there, please try it. Please do so. Let us know how this works. Let us know how it is on your end, and how it's working for you. We could absolutely use that feedback so that we can be better prepared going forward. Again, I do think this is a way we want to do this kind of stuff, but we still also need to be able to generate.
Candace just posted something. I'm guessing she went right to the tube and posted that. I can see that.
Where are you seeing it, Jokes?
On YouTube. So look at the chat, because I think for me right now the chat doesn't show.
Yeah, because I don't see anything.
I see nothing in the chat. There's nothing in the chat
in there. Okay,
yeah.
So probably but I can see it on YouTube though.
Got you.
Okay, I mean, which is fine. Like, if that just means we need to monitor YouTube separately, we can do that. But again, that's just a thing that we need to see. Now, what that means is that we won't be able to make that pop up on screen. We won't have access to pull that from where we are, make it pop up on screen. So we'll have to monitor that and try to respond to it or talk to you all who are leaving messages in chat in real time as best we can. And again, we'll work on it. We'll try to get better with it. But having said that, we're going to kind of redo this just quickly so that Jokes has a good jumping off point for editing to get this to everyone else. So we're going to run it back really quickly and just say what it do, Snackers, Snackettes, and Snack X's. It's your boy Gage. I'm here with Jokes and Sin, and it is time for another episode of Spoiler Boys.
Spoiler Boys.
Now, this time, we are specifically here to spoil the Marvels. Look, let's go around the room, get a consensus from everybody. Let's grab some numbers, see how we feel before the conversation. And then, again, we'll check the temperature again at the end of the conversation. Jokes, I'm going to start with you. The Marvels, where are you on this film?
I'm at a 7. Not bad.
Okay.
Thought it was entertaining. Did what it needed to do, honestly. I'm at a 7 for it.
Okay. Sin?
I'm at an 8. There were some things, that I didn't like, but I enjoyed the stuff I did way more than the things I didn't like about it.
I dig it. I am teetering between a 7 and an 8, so we're just going to call it a 7.5 right now.
Okay.
I mean, I agree. I enjoyed the movie. I don't think it's a bad movie by
At all.
any means.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen way worse.
Yeah,
worse. I don't think Wayne Tech agrees with that score of a 7.5.
Yeah, wait. Bruce got a problem with that
one? Bruce has a problem.
He got a beef with that. Like, these Marvel got... They just won't stop.
These goddamn on hilarious.
Don't start. That is one of my...
Nah, apparently don't like any of us.
I mean, yeah. So just to kind of recap, I think that high stakes is something that has changed in the MCU, and we're gonna have to discuss that as it pertains, I think, to this film and to the MCU going forward. When we talk about that, and so I think that we're gonna have to begin to measure these movies a little bit differently. So, Sin, I am putting you on notice to remind me to go back to talking about high stakes in the MCU. Cool?
High stakes. Got it.
My man. So look, this movie sort of opens up where we left off. Look, this is probably the first movie that really feels like if you didn't watch one of the shows, you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, you're lost. Yeah.
So if you did not watch Miss Marvel all the way to the end, you might be a little bit lost. But I do think that this movie in the very beginning tries to do a good job of catching people up by like just stating who Kamala Khan is, what her name is, not saying exactly what she did, but stating that she is the savior of New Jersey, you know, if you will. Of course, we'd be watching her, but kind of speaks to giving us an answer of what happened at the end of that show. Would you guys agree with that?
Agreed.
Yep.
Okay. How do you feel about how it's handled? Not that you all haven't seen the show, but how do you think it's handled in terms of for people who maybe excuse me did not see Ms. Marvel?
I think it gave enough of a snippet. Kind of gave us the feel of how like it was intro to give you the feel of Miss Marvel. Obviously, if you didn't watch it, it probably honestly didn't really mean too much. But if you at least know for the fact that Miss Marvel, like the show on Disney Plus, exists, it just when it picks right up from where her show ends off, you kind of just wait, why is this happening? Like that would be the kind of question that you would have, which would make you go back and watch it. But I think at least for the sake of establishing Miss Marvel as being at least she's a fan of Captain Marvel. We see all of her room and we see what it looks like. Okay, she's a fanatic. And then we just hit that quick switch where she shows up. Then you're kind of like, oh, okay. So I thought it was okay. Maybe obviously they're playing on you watching the show, but for those that didn't watch it, I would say it was okay.
I enjoyed it. I think them going with the whole notebook thing and her drawings and narrating her little comic and all that kind of stuff and seeing stuff around the room, like you said, Jokes. I think it helped introduce everybody to Kamala who didn't watch the show for whatever reason. It's a quick way to introduce her personality, just very, really quick and get it out the way so we can get on to the rest of the movie so you kind of have an understanding of who she is. I thought it was fine, starting off that way. I was cool with that.
So I have a slightly more specific question. This movie feels like it carries much more of the silliness that was a part of the Miss Marvel show into this movie and throughout the movie, which I think is not a very different tone, but definitely a different tone than what I feel like Captain Marvel was, and certainly a different tone than what WandaVision was, which, again, this is a movie that is piggybacking off of the tail end of two shows. So there's not just Miss Marvel in it picking up exactly where that left off, but this is also something that is piggybacking off of the end of what happened in WandaVision, their very first show, and having to carry what happened to Tiana Paris's character in Monica Rambeau through to here, which is another thread that I knew but hadn't really thought about until I sat down and like heard her say what happened to her, right? And her not specifically saying Wanda's name felt a little weird. And the fact that nobody was like, what you mean a witch? But like, what you mean a witch's hex? Like, I don't understand. But that probably would have been too much. I personally think that the level of silliness seems to work for the most part in this film. But I am a little bit worried about whether or not that is only because I was used to it from having watched the show. Where do you all sit on that?
Actually, before we jump in, because Candace actually said something, I'm gonna throw that out there. She was like, I like the Miss Marvel catch up, but not sure the Monica Rambeau catch up was the same. I may be lost if I hadn't seen WandaVision.
Okay. All right. I think that's fair.
Okay.
Sin?
I I actually really like the comedy in this. Not all of it, but a lot of the stuff they were doing. I didn't see that coming going into this movie, but I was pleasantly surprised by how funny a good majority of it was, like what they were doing. I didn't have a problem with it. Like I said, it threw me off, but I enjoyed it. And I thought it was just great between the three. Like just a lot of the comedic timing and all that kind of stuff was great between the three. Like I said, it threw me for a little, but I thoroughly enjoyed it more than I thought I would with it. I did.
Feel the same way, Jokes?
I feel the same way. Like honestly, to me, I thought the comedy, for the most part, I think was on point. I think the three of them, meeting for the first time, or I should say, Monica and Cap seeing each other for the first time in a very long time, and then obviously Miss Marvel is fangirling out the whole entire time while she's in. I absolutely love that. Just to kind of show, she's younger, and I think that's a cool way to kind of show that off in comparison to the rest of them, is just to have her fangirl out. But I thought their whole entire time together it was on point. I honestly don't think there was too much of a miss. They went from being this the not a team to really formulated in bonding and really becoming a team. And I thought they did a very good job at building and making that a thing for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say that this film has some of the best fight choreography they've ever had in the MCU.
Absolutely.
If for nothing else, just based on how difficult it is and what it means to actually have to map it out and choreograph it, just based on timing. But
seeing the evolution of it throughout the movie, to knowing what's going on, it was great in that moment. To when they figure it all out and get it on towards the end, and they're doing Spider-Man 2 combos out here. Like
it was very much it was very much a callback to like old kung fu flicks where you see the training and you know what I'm saying, whatever, and then by the end of the movie they have it mastered, you know what I mean? Like they got it down. I definitely had an appreciation for that. So I mean, let's just talk about where we are when this movie begins. Cap. I don't want to say that.
I know it's hard.
She hasn't earned that right yet. Carol is alone on her ship with Goose, right? We see that there is some activity that's happening on a planet. We don't know what planet it is. We don't really know what it means, but we know that they're looking for something, and the mysterious bangle that was missing from the Miss Marvel show, we now have located. I don't know how they found it. I don't even know why they're looking for it. I don't even know how they know it's really real. We never crossed that bridge.
I was just in the theater like, hey, it's the other bangle. Okay. That's where it's been. Let's go.
I mean, and for real, how it ended up where it was versus how Kamala ended up with it on Earth.
Yeah.
They ran. That there was something like, if you go back and you watch the Miss Marvel show, you remember like her grandmother and the other people that were with her seemed like they were refugees and they were on the run from someone. And I believe that they must have taken it to purposefully try to separate the Bengals from one another. That's where I'm at. We'll see if they ever go back to that. They might not ever touch on that again.
Nope.
Though I will say I was highly expecting for the Bengals to be gone, to no longer exist by the end of this, and I was totally shocked that they still exist. Just 100%. Because I think let me get this out of the way. I don't like Miss Marvel's power set in the MCU. It's just not true to what her power set is like in the comics, where she can actually stretch parts. They were going to go a little further into that. She was going to lose the Bengals, and it was going to turn out that she could still do those things with her body. And I'm still a little thrown off by the fact that when she did not have the Bengals, she was still able to use
the powers,
her abilities. We're going to get into that. So I was a little thrown off by that. But Carol is by herself. She gets a call from Nick. It just seemed like old times. Like they talk all the time, I guess. You know what I mean? Which makes me feel a certain way about Secret Invasion. But again, my man said I'm not calling anybody because it might turn into a problem. I mean, all right, but I'm just saying, you got somebody on speed dial, dog. Like you just really do, dog. Like
you got a power player.
Yeah, for real. Look, we have an anomaly. Can you go check it out? Yeah, I'll go check it out. Right? Goes to check it out. And just, I mean, look, let me get dressed, strap my boots on, and just fall into space. And then I'm just gonna fly over there. I don't know why we don't fly the ship there, but I feel like she's faster than the ship anyway. So cool. She flies in, goes to check things out. We know that they've already taken off with the bangle. I'm gonna tell you, when the entanglement starts to happen and they switch places, I do get a little bit lost with who is where.
Okay.
Only because it seemed like by the time Carol got to where they took the bangle from, everybody was gone. And then when they start switching, and Monica ends up there, when she lands hard, like they just show up, like it's a bunch of them. You know what I mean? Like I feel like something was lost in there, but again, we'll get there. She goes to check it out. We already know what's going on with Kamala, at least in terms of, her talking to her mom about doing her homework and doing her drawings or whatever. And I do like that they didn't carry the drawings and kind of the animated stuff any further than that. Once she leaves her room, she doesn't have access to her pad and it's not in her imagination anymore. We're no longer doing that. And I do really love that. That they didn't carry it any further than that. And we hear Nick tell Carol, hey, Monica's out there working on something. You talking about Monica? Like my Monica? What's she doing? Like, yeah, dog, but you realize she's not a child. Like, I know, I guess you don't age, but like
time has passed.
She's not a baby. She out here working. And she just decides they make a bet or something, whoever she out there with. And she's like, yeah, I got it. Y'all go get some food or whatever. And I'm going to go check this out. Which I'm going to just say something. I'm going to have a black man minute here real quick.
There's a couple of them that were.
Look at here, sis. You already walked through a witch hex that did something to you. I just feel like you should be or would be a little more cautious before you just float yourself out to space and start playing around with like time space doors. That's all I'm saying.
She got powers now. She want to show them off.
But still,
she did when she walked up and touched the hex wall.
Now, the thing is, the same thing may not happen twice. You got lucky and you got your powers there. The second time you do it, you may get shredded to little time bits.
Exactly, dog. I mean, listen. What if that joint just undid her powers and now she just floating?
I can't breathe. Well, she got her suit on at least, so.
Cause my man Nick is like, what are you doing? Like,
Nick was funnier than he should have been in this movie.
Listen,
he was as funny as he needed to be in this joint. Like, Secret Invasion was heavy. It was very serious. Like, this needed to come, you know what I mean? Come down a bit. And I think that the idea of Nick being in charge, but being much more of a father figure than just being head of S.H.I.E.L.D. or head of Saber. There's only one real moment in this movie where he does that, which is when like they're panicking and he's like, no, go get everybody to the such and such. Like that, at that moment, he snaps back into old school Nick Fury, head of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, this is really nothing to me. Like, having to evacuate a bunch of people, like, yeah, probably everybody's not gonna make it, but do everything you can to get everybody. Like, he's
par for the course.
But he snaps back into that mode, and that's really the only time that he does that, I think. So all right, end of my color man rant for just be walking up and just be and just touching stuff. Like, cause I like listen. Her mama just as black as my mama is, and I know her mama told her when we go in this store, you better not touch nothing.
Don't touch nothing. Don't you touch nothing.
Like, if nobody teach you, if ain't nobody teach you, don't just be floating out in space and touching stuff.
Don't ask for nothing.
Hands in your pocket.
What's wrong with you? You know what I'm saying?
Walk.
Last time you touched something, you got powers. You better not do it again. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you know, I don't know. Anyway, entanglement ensues. I do actually think they do a good job of sort of explaining that the entanglement is tied not only to the immaculate timing of Carol and her touching the things at the same time, but also the fact that they're tied to the bangle and that she's got the bangle and the bangle is now activated. I'm willing to accept it. Timing is what it is, right? So cool. We're swapping places, and I'm gonna tell you something. 15 extra points to Kamala's entire family.
Hey,
absolutely.
Listen,
her and her family, honestly, were probably the favorite things about this movie to me, dog. Like,
I love her mother, dog.
Her mom.
Like, they were them the whole time. They were funny. They were entertaining. They were caring, and just having Kamala in the middle of all that and seeing her go through all that, like some real major, like Avengers level type of stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
even though the craziness was ensued, Kamala showed up, and she already felt like she was in trouble. Like, she still went into mom mode. Like, Kamala, what you like? What you do? Like, I didn't do anything because your friend Captain Marvel was here.
Wait,
instead of like
it was normal.
Like, is she in trouble for that though? Like, why is she in trouble for this? Like, when they was cleaning up the house after the first time they had
the mugs that was being thrown around in there.
They was mugging, like, her brother glasses was broke, and he was really mean mugging her. Like, hey, though, you had to get powers, Slim. My glasses is broke. What's wrong with y'all? Like, hey, though, if I was her, I'd want to get out of that joint so bad, so bad. For her, it's like, is this my test? Because I'm ready to go. I will drop out of high school. Let's go.
Whatever you need to get this done.
Pump the brakes. Don't do that.
I'm done with it. You know what? I will say this. It would have been kind of nice, and it wasn't necessary, but I feel like it would have been nice to get just a call back to my man Bruno. You know what I'm saying? Just how he's doing. You know what I'm saying? Off in school or something. There was a quick second. Her friend Nikia or whatever.
There was a quick second I thought that was going to happen in that movie towards the end.
Yeah, that kind of. I feel like it's possible it was in there somewhere and it just got cut.
Honestly, you know I think that I think everything was done pretty well. I think another 10 minutes or so spread throughout the whole entire movie, and some of those little small instances may have actually paid off. But I think what they did and how they were able to condense this under 2 hours and still kind of maintain things the way they were, I was good with it. Because the moment it probably would have gone, if for whatever reason they had to try to make this a 2.5 hour movie, I do think we would have gotten a little too much extra. Yeah, too much. But maybe an extra 10 minutes. An extra 10 minutes, I think, could have been a little extra icing on the cake for it.
Let's do this. Let's just kind of go through some of the characters and like Darbin. I don't really like her. I didn't really feel her as a villain. I don't feel like she didn't feel threatening as a villain to me. I don't think her face felt threatening when she's making angry faces. Like, none of it. It just doesn't. It didn't quite.
She's forgetting.
Like, there was no point in time where I felt like any of the three of them couldn't actually punish
body her.
I didn't hate her or anything like that. Like, when it started, I didn't watch any of the trailers outside of the first one. So going in and I saw her come out with the hammer, I was like, first thing came out of my mouth was, "We're doing the accuser again?" Like, we already did that. Like,
and we didn't really talk about how she got the hammer back.
That's what I was about to say. I'm like, the Power Stone's gone. So I'm like, what is this purple aura that you got in like this thing right now because
Yeah.
you ain't got the Power Stone in there.
And I'm just like, okay, like I didn't hate her going through it, but I was like, with what her goal is and everything, like in the scale of everything, like she's gonna be forgettable at the end of the day. Like it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't hate her. I just I don't know if so. I do feel like the trailers play her up as the villain, which I guess she is the villain of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel like they almost could have done this without trying to make it seem like they had a villain and just made the fact that there are these people who are trying to get their atmosphere, their sun, their
water,
they're trying to rebuild their planet and they're willing to do it. Now, what I don't think they did a really good job of selling was how she was specifically actually targeting places that were important to Carol.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't at all. Yeah.
And like she says it, and then I guess it's kind of like, oh, okay, sure. But they don't ever tell you
subtle hints or like as we're going through this place until we go to the water planet. I think is really where we started to, because they said it like you said, Sin. But I think there could have been like that subtle statement of like, oh, I wonder if Carol will, or the Annihilator will miss something, just something subtle like that.
Really, all they really had to do was have her as and to be honest, this could have made all the difference for me in how I viewed her as a villain.
Mm-hmm.
Was the actual personal vendetta she had. So like everybody on Hala hates Carol Danvers. She's the Annihilator to them, right? And understandably so.
Mm-hmm.
They do establish that she was there and she saw her. She saw her for like 30 seconds and then she got knocked out.
Got
crushed.
She didn't kill her. Like she could have killed her. She didn't kill her.
And
you know
then
what I'm
you
saying?
become the accuser. Like it just doesn't fall into place correctly. Like right there.
They don't ever. All she really had to do was have a statement where she says, I'm going to get our planet back to where it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to make her suffer to do it. Like if they had just said that, if she had just been like, and because they also never make it clear, like, how does she know Carol's history, where she's been, what's important to her? So I do think that there's some threads in this film that don't quite connect for me that make the villain fall flat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, you're completely correct. I completely agree. Yeah. All those things were going through my head through it. Like that whole, like when she finally admits it after they get off the water planet, like, yeah, I took everything from them and all that kind of stuff. And she's targeting what means to me. I was like, that's what she's been doing all the time. I thought she was trying to just build her planet. Like, here has the atmosphere, here has the water, like, here's the sun. Like, oh, this is perfect.
It's also like only 3 things. And so because it's only 3 things, and it kind of doesn't seem like the Kree planet was that big of a deal to her. Like they established that she knows them because she's like calling the Emperor by name. Mm-hmm. But like they don't really establish that particular refugee camp of Kree is of a major importance to Carol for some reason. Like they just don't nail that.
I think that's like what Joe said. It'd have been better if they added that extra 10 minutes with stuff like this.
Yeah.
Just to like say those type of things and establish those things just so the audience knows.
Same thing with the water planet. Because even though they established that she's important there and why she's important there, which I think is dope and hilarious at the same time.
Yeah.
They don't really establish why it is important to her. Like she says, like it's just a technique. She makes it sound like it's not really important to her. Like it's not really that big a deal. Like I did it. He was in some legal trouble, whatever. And so this was just kind of like a thing that I was willing to do to help them out. But she doesn't make it seem like it's actually that important to her. It's just one of the things that she did while she was off gallivanting through, the universe. You know what I mean? Doing what she was doing. And to be honest, I think that, again, they probably left something out because at one point she does establish in their conversation that the reason why she didn't come back home is because she knew what she did to Hala, and she felt like she needed to make it up before she could come back and see Monica. And so even just a small piece of dialogue that attached her doing what she did to that planet, that it was a thing that saved their entire planet because blah, 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 and therefore was important to her because it was one of the things that she did to make herself feel like she could finally come home. You know what I mean? Like they don't quite hit that touchdown for her. And so while the time on the planet I think was enjoyable, having this race of people that can't do anything but sing.
That was one of the things I just didn't
love
like.
that.
There was some funny moments. I didn't like it. I got it why it was. No, I understood why it was in the movie. I did not like the singing stuff. It just was like, come on.
Hold on.
Even though they made it
why
funny.
Was it in the movie? Why was it? You say you understand why it was in the movie, so tell me why you think it was in the movie.
India, Kamala Khan, just to appeal to that audience and all that kind of stuff. That's why, the whole like dance number, all that kind of stuff. That's that's why I did it. Not for me. I get
Bollywood. You feel like it was a little
Bollywood. Yeah.
I mean, you know what? Here's the thing. I could even feel that a little bit more if they had chosen somebody who wasn't a South Korean, like a well-known South Korean actor, singer, to be the prince, right, in that moment, as opposed to somebody who was of Indian or Hindu heritage to do it. But there's also a part of me that felt like they wanted to lean into the fact that Brie Larson used to be a singer, like tried to be a Britney Spears, and that just didn't work out. So, but I do think that is probably the most Kamala Khan part of the movie, other than the very beginning. I think that piece of it fits more in line with that. But I do think they do a good job of not turning it into a musical, but by explaining the way that these people communicate is like, that's just how they, like, if you just talk, most of them won't even understand you.
Right.
Yeah, the king or prince was bilingual.
That right.
Was kind of funny.
It was, you know what I mean?
Kind of we need to talk. Okay.
Yeah. Give me like 2 or 3 of your favorite parts of this movie.
Well, the action we already said in the beginning, how they do well with the whole switching thing, and even watching them fumble in the beginning to how great they get at the end, I love. The comedy in it, I didn't think I would like as much as I did. I did. And just kind of like that, seeing Kamala, like just the connection between those three, like her seeing her hero, Monica and Carol dealing with their stuff at the same time, dealing with the fangirl that's with them now. Like, I liked all those kind of interactions and conversations they were having together. I really liked the one that when they finally showed what happened to Monica during the snap. I love that. Like, I thought she bodied that one. You know what I mean? Just, I love when they go back and show us those times in the MCU when people got snapped and just where they were at those times. Like, we've seen it with Monica now. We've seen it with what's my other girl from Black Widow, her sister. Can't think of it right now. But
Yelena.
Yeah, Yelena. So I have with Yelena, like stuff like that. I like it. I think those are my 3 probably most favorite things about this movie in general overall.
What about you, Jokes? What are some parts of the movie that stand out as favorite moments for you?
I really like the part where, I guess this is, I don't know if you really want to consider this to be 2 parts, but when they were all wearing like the mental link thing that when they originally said, and where they were kind of in each other's minds and seeing the different kind of what you're saying, not wanting to relive those moments, but going from that into, seeing them work together. Like, listen, we're going to have to figure this whole thing out with us, switching places with the powers and kind of building that small relationship. Obviously, for time's sake, like that was probably a good chunk of time that they spent in that area trying to do that. But I really liked how they kind of, as we saw, they started getting in tune with each other and doing all that. You can kind of see that bond forming for them.
That training montage.
That training montage to say on there for it.
Before I forget, the part that did make me laugh the hardest is when Kamala's falling out of the sky, and Monica's trying to figure out what am I going to do to catch whoever, and Nick Fury goes, "Black girl magic."
Dog,
I died laughing in the theater, dog, when he said that.
That was a tip. That was the Sam L. Jackson just come out there to say, "Use your black girl magic."
Yeah, I died laughing at that one.
That don't work.
I might say, "Hey, you gonna have to fly."
It's like,
you better figure it out now, because if you don't, she ain't gonna make it.
Probably, and honestly, that was probably also a favorite moment because, like, listen, when the two of them were falling, at that point, that was literally like, oh, we may be ending the movie right now, because that.
Come on, bro.
It's too early for that. It's too early for that, bro.
Being funny.
She's on the poster.
I get it, just being funny here, but that was that moment where, you know, some heroes or they need like that extra push before things start to really get in gear for them, and that was one of those moments. Now, granted, thanks to Kamala and being able to, she used her power, she still put the shell over top of them, which may have saved them, but then they ended up swapping places anyway. But I think maybe
that actually was one of my favorite moments is when that happened and they hit the ground and then he goes, "Oh, it's Carol." He's like, "Oh, all right." It don't even matter, Carol. Like, I know she's good. Like,
hey, listen, she took a punch from Thanos. She's good. That little fall. Yeah, just overall, their camaraderie.
Solid one of these from Thanos when he grabbed that power stuff.
I just love their interactions.
Mm-hmm.
There's another point. Yeah, I won't do the other one because we're going to go to the end of it. But obviously, the after credit scene is. I love that.
Yeah, I was loud in the theater with a couple other people about something.
Hey, I was upset. I was upset with the people that was in my theater. Hey, continue.
Joe, if you getting ready to tell me you upset because people got up, dog.
No, not that. No, not that. It was just when it happened. They
didn't have the reaction you were.
It didn't. I don't think it resonated with them, and I don't know if maybe that was just.
Mad? Don't be mad. That's not their fault. That's the MCU's fault. That's the thing we can talk about. So, you know, again, like, I do think that there's a good level of character development in here. I think there's great character development for Carol. I like her better now than I did coming into the movie.
Agreed.
I can agree with that. Yep.
You know, they stripped her humanity away from her in the first movie. And then when you see her again, you just know she's a powerhouse.
Right.
This movie, they give that back to her, I feel like. They allow her to be vulnerable in some ways by having someone youthful around her, which is a thing that kind of takes her back to memories of spending time with Monica. And so that optimism, that energy that Kamala just has, you could just see it begin to infect her. And I honestly believe that that's the thing that also Iman Vellani just has on set. Like, I just think she does that for them anyway, because she knows the characters in the comics like nobody else, right?
She's a real fan at the same time.
100%.
Yeah.
Monica's character development, I like. I'm gonna be honest, I don't love her as an actress. I feel like it's cool. Like, it's cool, but like, you know, I'd be all right with somebody else. I don't hate her. I don't think that she sells it as well as her counterparts, personally. And I don't necessarily think, I feel this, like, I don't think it's different than it was in WandaVision. I wasn't real keen on her in WandaVision.
I get that. I think certain scenes she does well, like the scene I said when she flashes back and you see her have those emotions about her father. I think she like, you know, did her thing in specific pockets of the movie.
Correct. Iman Vellani, I think, steals this movie.
Oh, hands down.
Like I said, my favorite thing about it, her and her family about this movie.
From everyone. I think that as a young actress, she is doing extremely well. I think that in terms of selling Kamala and who Kamala is and how she acts and or reacts, I feel her when she acts, when she's like trying to go back and save the Skrulls.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I was just thinking about that scene. Yeah.
And when Carol tells her, like, go get on the ship and do not use your powers. And of course, and like in that moment, it was very like Tony Stark, Peter Parker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very Tony Stark, Peter Parker in that moment, right? And I just feel like it was a good moment of her as a hero, as a person who wants to do this, and this is a dream. The part that you dream where you're saving everybody, that's not the reality of how this works. Mm-hmm. You just can't save everybody all the time. We have to save the ones we can, right? It doesn't do you any good to lose yourself trying to save. And that is, I think, a harsh reality that she needed to have, right? To be able to carry with her forward. And I do think that's a thing that they're probably going to have as a theme in some manner moving forward with her as her character ages up, right? And grows as a character. And now, again, she's in a position where she's done things that anybody who would be a young Avenger hasn't done. Mm-hmm. And so she's ahead of the game. And so I think that's an important role for her, and those are some important moves for her to have made. So I do like the development of all three of these characters. I'm not positive about where it leaves us at the end of the movie. Again, like Dar-Benn is just like, I don't know, man. Look, to have that fight at the end, which I thought was a dope fight. Mm-hmm. It's a lot going on.
I was a little disappointed. I agree. Like I said, I like the action and the way they finally got this stuff together. They was rocking her. But like when they kind of like was done, like beat her, I was like, that's it, shorty? That's all you got?
Me too.
Big bad.
I felt like
they just whooped you.
I felt like Captain Marvel. I felt like she was reserved a little bit. Like I feel like after seeing her fight, Thanos and being able to, kind of put the pause to Thanos, I felt like that she just wasn't fully using her power to the full extent, the potentially that she could have used them to. And
so here's part of the problem. This is one of the things I want to get to, Jokes. Like, you're right there. Captain Marvel, for all intents and purposes, is Marvel's Superman.
I knew that's what he was about to say.
I mean, it is.
It's the same problem that I have with Superman. Same problem I have with him.
He could have just flown through their ships and shut it all down.
Yep.
Youngin is floating in space, and I'm just going to take the Bengals. Like, I just want you, like, let me keep it a buck, bro. If I'm Captain Marvel, dog, and I grab you,
I'm all chopped.
You're not getting. Hey, dog,
you ain't getting
game over. At that point,
I seen my mother grab people harder than that, dog. Like 100%, bro. Uh-huh. Like, if I'm Captain Marvel, Slim, and I grab you, dog, one, you haven't learned don't touch the bangle yet. Don't touch the bangle, Slim. Don't channel your energy into the bangle. Mm-hmm. But after the third time you did it and she used it against you, hey, dog, if you don't mollywop this youngin's face off, punch her face off.
I'm blowing that arm off you. You ain't getting this bangle, bro.
You understand what I'm saying?
You took a punch from Thanos. Dog, you took a punch from Thanos, who's already strong, but he had to whip out the Power Stone and Hail Mary punch you.
Correct. Mm-hmm. She should have beat the brakes off youngin.
Yes.
Off the early. This shouldn't have even been. And look, and here's
this movie could have been 30 minutes.
Was the fact that they would consistently switch places if she tried to do it if she was by herself. But dog, y'all are together.
By the time they got to the end, it should have been
just punch this joint through the throat and call it a day.
That should have just been, y'all step back for a moment. Let me go in here. I'm just gonna take care of this business right quick.
I mean, it seemed like that was kind of the plan when they were on the water planet, because it was like, you stay here, we're going to, and real quick, I was undecided. However, I am going to shout out to Kamala Khan. Just like my man's like, use your scarf. Oh, I bet. Let's get to work. Now,
I dug that. All right, she got a little melee weapon now. Okay.
Listen. I'm gonna tell you what, bro. If I'm a trained warrior from another planet, dog, and I show up and you fling your scarf at me, I'm gonna kill you. Like we're not. I'm not gonna let them pretend that she's all of a sudden wielding that joint with.
Did you hit me with
mastery
scarf?
Yeah.
And or the strength of a Miss Marvel, like it's not even like. But all right,
Except
it was cool. It's sweet. But for real, you'd got killed out there in them streets. Let me just say it.
Smack with the scarf. I'm like,
Go stay on the ship. Like if you was gonna do all that, just tell her stay on the ship. Stay on the ship. You know what I'm saying? All right. So I have my issues always with this joint. And I think that when you have a character that has the kind of power set that she has, one, it does become necessary to put in some plot armor that says, well, she can't just use her powers because every time she attempts to do it, she ends up somewhere she doesn't know where she's going to be. So we get that part figured out. We go through the montage of having them figure out how to use their powers or whatever, which is all dope. Then they get in and they're starting to like, let's rock it. You know what I'm saying? Let's go in here. Let's swap out. You know what I mean? Which is looking dope. Hey, but knock this youngin. You can't even knock youngin out. Like, knock this youngin out.
Like, she's got one more planet, and it's Earth. Like, come on, we done with her. We done playing around with this chick. Like, let's put her down.
And we put a hole in her.
Should have been body.
And then we made a deal with the devil and let the devil up. But youngin was just like, got you.
I saw that. I'm pretty sure we all saw that coming from a mile away. Like, come on now.
We've seen
Straight
this
up.
in every other. Like, no, don't do
Hit
that.
this youngin with the I will kill Kamala Khan.
Man, if you boot her ass out the side of that ship into space,
listen,
boom.
Hey, listen, that
And
joint was straight up. That joint was straight up Thanos holding Loki with the power stone to the head. Like, I was like, what is in the hammer? I'm like, do we have a power stone from
that joint was like pulling power from her face. Like if you look at the hammer sitting on her face, like her face was starting to turn purple there with veins. I was like, oh, she's actually doing something. I guess she's draining
something like
her
that.
Power somehow, and is something happening with the bangle or whatever. And for real, at that moment, I was like, hey, Kamala, take your scarf off and hit this youngin in the face. Hit this youngin in the face. Yeah, I didn't like it. I feel like there were some issues there and there were some rewrites there and it didn't go the way they were originally planning. But let's talk about how it ends. Let's talk about how we end up. Because in the long and short of it, we do some math technical mumbo jumbo to figure out that we can stop this. Carol Jai just goes out and puts an end to youngin, which is like, you could have done that
from the beginning.
About 60 minutes ago, sweetheart.
She got both the bangles, and then there's like only like 40 seconds of actual threat because she has both bangles. You know what I'm saying? And it seems like when she got the bangles, they just like ate her alive. I'm not even positive what actually happened to her.
It was like too much power. Like it was like her body couldn't use the power of the two of them together and disintegrate it. Like,
I don't know. She knew she was gonna die doing it. You know, and again, at that point, I don't feel like they did enough to establish quite how maniacal she had become in not just wanting to give her people back what they needed to have. Like she did have that brief moment with her little second in command dude who was like, you'll die if you do it. She was like, if that's what it takes. All right. You know what I mean? But like now you have an opportunity to have it happen and save your people. And it doesn't have to be that. And we didn't really establish that, like, I would rather die and kill you and see you suffer than just get, you know what I'm saying, my people back or, you know, whatever. So I again, I have some issues with the way that we end up settling things. However, she disintegrates. We got to go get Carol from floating in space, and I do kind of love the big hands scooping them out of space. Like, really? Listen.
The whole time when y'all were watching that, we all like, hey, grab the bangle too. Bring the bangle in here with us. Like, come on, please bring.
Because at first they were just floating. I was like, don't leave the. Well, Kamala, at least the one. I know Kamala was like, I gotta have at least mine's back. But when you saw the whole hands grab, I was like, okay,
scoop it in, scoop it all in. Let's go.
Yeah, dog. More importantly, why did we let Monica go out there at all? Why did we let Monica go out there at all? Because if Kamala could just reach out there and scoop this joint.
Because they had to do it for the continuation of what's going to happen.
This is a sort of plot.
What do you mean? That joint is in no way relevant. Monica going out there to get Carol and bring back the bangles is in no way relevant to the fact that she had to go out there to fix the thing. Like, they could have just had her, oh, I got it, and scoop. And then when she gets back and Carol gets up, they're just like, can we fix this? Yep, this is how we got to fix it. I think we can fix it in theory. And then she does it. And I got to go out there. Now, I am going to say this again, because I have issues with how this ended. Plot armor. Once Kamala has the bangles and it seems like she gets her true power, right? Like, I was born for this. I like that in her. Mm-hmm. We still don't know what it actually means for her, technically. But we do know that apparently those bangles were used to create the entire network throughout the multiverse and the universe to travel wherever, whenever. All right. That to me says she now has an ability she would never have had before, and it's a little more of America's power than it is hers. But I digress. We need to create the same amount of power again that created it. Then we need to channel that power into you, and then we need to use you to close the portal. Okay. I'm in. Like, what? Okay. That's what we got to do. Let's do it. We do it. She gets the power. She flies out there. Jokes. Why did she go through the portal to close the portal?
I'm pretty sure the words were said that it had to be done from the other side. Now, I don't know. My thing was, I was like, why does it have to be a push? Why can't it just be a pull? Why can't we just use the powers on this side, grab said walls or whatever it is, and pull it together versus the pushing together? But of course, it was also said, it was like, oh, this is blown a hole like in space-time. Like, the words were specifically said to be planted with everybody that was a different universe. We've never ever we never said that at all, ever, until this one instant of the moment.
Right, because the Bengals did it. Yeah, that I understand. I'm cool with the fact that they're saying that
going to the other side. Now I got you.
I'm just
Kevin Feige said so.
Do you recall them saying at some point that they said she had to push it closed from the other side? I don't remember.
I don't know. I saw
She said it had to be
Thursday
done from the other side.
Park, so I don't know.
I'm more than certain that she said it had to be done from the other side.
Okay.
Joe,
I do believe you do, Joe.
I'm okay. I literally just saw it, but I'm just gonna say, okay, because you're not certain. You're more than certain, which means that's like 112% that's what they said.
That's about right. That is.
I missed it. I don't like it, but okay.
Okay,
that's where we are. I must go to the other side. I can tell you right now that while I did kind of assume immediately, oh, this ain't gonna work, she gonna get trapped. I certainly, if I had heard them say it has to be done from the other side, I'd be like, oh yeah, she ain't coming back.
Yeah. As soon as I heard, I said that.
Jokes, I would say I'm 1,000% with you. That's what they said, because I was completely on that board. Like, she ain't coming back. She's trapped. Like, that's
I told her. I was like, she's not coming back.
Yeah. That's how the movie's gonna end.
Which I was cool with, sort of. I was kind of cool with it. Like I don't know. We don't really need her. Okay.
We're building branches
Carol
and getting to the end. Yeah.
goes off to do what she said she was gonna do, and she flies into the sun, and she literally like reverses. I guess their sun's not real. Like it sounded like they were saying something about like the sun.
It needed some jumping cables.
It slowed down.
Like
and it had to get jumped.
They were like the core. They were like it's power core.
Slow. Yeah, it needed to be. It needed like a recharge or something.
You got the power to do it.
I want to curse. So what? What? Okay. All right. Cool. You go do that, and I'm glad she was able to do it and give them back their son. Cool. What she's doing now, shoulders. I don't know what that really means. Now that she did that, and she's just like, well, I'm just at home now, like moving into their house.
Yep.
Can I say one of the other moments that I thought was stupid but ended up being funny is with the cats and grabbing everybody on the space station to bring them down. I thought it was absolutely stupid, but it was the more they got into it, like the funnier it kind of got. Like,
hey, listen,
okay.
At this point here's what I got out of all that. After they brought them down, I was like, oh, New York City is now infested with flurkins. And so, you know what that made me think of? I'm all over the place. It's the Spider-Man games, Spider-Cat is a flurkin.
Jokes. The way that
yes, I'm doing that. Hey, listen, I'm doing it there. I'm reaching. But either way, New York is now infested with flurkins. And somehow this is going to end up.
You can't tell the difference. You can't tell the difference. It's going to come back to bite them. Here's what I think is also very important is that at the end of Secret Invasion, the president of the United States declared war on all beings that are not from this planet, especially Skrulls. They said they know how to detect them and know how to find them. And we certainly just had the leader of New Asgard go and get them all and bring them
to New Asgard.
To New Asgard.
That was cool.
They are officially on her. And it was cool.
Yeah.
And she's like, anytime you need me, I got you.
Yeah.
Cool. However,
that just painted another target just now.
Yeah.
An extra bigger target.
Because if that's the case, they're gonna go after New Asgard, and now you just added the Kree there, like the Kree, you know what I'm saying, like the Skrulls there. They just did all that to the president and all that kind of stuff. Like that's gonna be something that's gonna come back in the future for sure.
Hey, don't attack New Asgard and destroy that because you're gonna make an enemy out of Thor. And
him and his daughter gonna come back to wreak havoc.
Thor loves Midgard. He loves people. It'll be fine, I'm sure. So again, like there are a lot of things that happen in this movie that are far-reaching. Right? They reach back to all the way back to WandaVision. They reach back to Miss Marvel. They reach forward. They reach back to Secret Invasion. They reach forward to the future with, again, Skrulls now being in New Asgard for sure. Like, period. Like, that's a thing. They're on the planet, and the president declared war. So what that means when they're like, okay, the new Captain America movie just got pushed back and it's now was supposed to come out 2021, now isn't coming out until like February 2025. There's a lot. But what I tell you to remind me to do, Sin?
Like the stakes of movies in the MCU.
So we don't care anymore. The stakes have been so high, right? Like when the MCU started, they gradually rose the stakes. Like Iron Man, the first Iron Man didn't really have super high stakes. It was like it's us on Earth. Let's get our stuff back. Like that's it, right? We get to the first Thor movie, and it's like, oh, but the actual Annihilate, like came down to the planet from Asgard or whatever. Like that's kind of a problem. You know what I mean? Like
That's a problem.
That's a problem, right? And we gradually get up to like Loki and him being from Asgard and being a god and having powers that people can't really deal with. But we got one of them on our team. Like it's like, you know, like we can handle it. And then we start bringing in aliens, right? And then we're like, oh, Thanos. And now we're talking, what do the stones mean? And how does it affect everybody else? And we just gradually build and build and build until when you get to Endgame, it's like, yo,
right,
everything's at stake. As a matter of fact, things are so at stake that half the people that we like died. Like just people we just got introduced to, they just gone. Like
we just got Black Panther. Like Black Panther just came.
He right? turned to dust in front of all our eyes.
But now we've done cosmic, right? We've had Guardians and what they're doing with that. And they fighting like whole planets. They live in the head of a celestial. We have a celestial that is apparently on Earth. You know what I mean? We had the Eternals and everything that's going on. Like the things that should be high stakes, just aren't. They're kind of par for the course now, right? Like what Captain Marvel can do feels normal. Right, and the stakes don't feel high because it's not, even when it's no longer ground level. It's like, all right, well, they got somebody that can deal with that. You know what I mean? Like they're just like the looming threat, the person that can show up from somewhere way out in the universe, who actually is threatening enough to like, I'm going to take your son and leave your solar system, not just your planet, but your whole solar system, like in shambles. Plus, we like don't go back and like I know that like we needed some closure, and so Carol has to go. It's cool that she like, well, we're moving into the house. We're back there. She has a plane, but she doesn't have the keys. I could teach Kamala how to fly. Like, it's cool. But, like, did she go back to the water planet that she's the princess of? Yeah. And check on them? Because when they left, and I'll be honest, I can appreciate that Kamala was like, yo, I had to make a call. Boop. I actually love that. That's actually probably my favorite part of the movie. When they're like fighting about it, and she's like, I could do this. And she's like, nah, Slim, we gotta go. Nah, I could do this. And Kamala's like, yeah, nope. Nah, dog.
We're getting out of here.
I had to make a judgment call. You know what I'm saying? And then in that moment, the heat of that moment, when they talk about it to each other, we get a real moment between Carol and Monica, and you know, having her like, yo, I had to make that call. Like I had to, you know what I mean? And again, that is her coming into her own, stepping up, seeing what the stakes are, being a part of a team, and having always wanted to be a member of a team, and getting the experience to possibly lead a team is something we saw happen in this film that I think is going to be very important further down the road. But my concern is still about the stakes, right? Because a threat level that we've been told should be a Kang level threat, Ant-Man beat Slim. And
I feel about that.
Yeah, 100%. Like it's like there's also like this thing of like Marvel now announces projects and movies so far out that while you don't necessarily know how things are going to happen, you know it's going to work out because they've announced things so far out. Right. So like when they made the announcement that like we're gonna, and you know, if you remember them initially announcing like, oh, Infinity War part one and two. And then they changed the name of it. It's like, well, what are they doing? But we really didn't know anything beyond Endgame. And then after that was over, it was like, here's the next 8 years of movies.
I was like,
so y'all can just sit back and relax because we're just gonna keep giving you stuff, and there's still gonna be more stuff. And it's like, you know, things are coming, but just announcing that those projects are coming and announcing the names of those projects allows you a certain amount of comfortability going in where you're like, well, I mean, I kind of know what's going to happen, right? Like you don't know the specifics necessarily or how they're going to use one thing to lead into the next thing, but the stakes don't feel as big anymore as they did. And there was a time when I feel like a movie like this would have felt so important in terms of how big of a threat, it was. And we don't even have an introduction of someone in this movie that is a greater threat. We don't even get like a threat of like, not like we would before, where it was like, oh man, this dude Loki's coming. You know what I'm saying? We already know Kang's coming. We've been knowing Kang's coming.
Yeah.
And I don't think
now it's like, is he the only one, or is there going to be somebody else? Or is there something in between that? Or is there a stepping stone in between it? So
yeah, for me, it doesn't really bother me as much. Like,
what doesn't bother you? That the stakes aren't high?
Like the stakes haven't gotten it. So I think this is we're starting to see small pieces of a puzzle develop, but kind of how you reference like Iron Man, like Obadiah Stane, that really wasn't this great level threat. But I feel like we're taking those small steps. Yes, this was a cosmic galactic thing where clearly we're taking water from a planet. We're about to destroy the sun so we can move the sun. So like there are some elements to feel as being a threat, but I feel
but that feels so trivial. That's what I'm saying. I guess like what I'm saying is that like in Iron Man 1, Obadiah Stane felt like a threat. Like he was literally trying to kill Tony. Like, I'm gonna kill Slim. I'm gonna take his heart out. I want his power, and like I'm willing to do that for the money and for what it'll give me and whatever, because I'm trying to be rich. You know what I mean? Like, and that was enough, right, to feel like it was a threat. In this joint, you have somebody who's like, "Hey, dog, I'm gonna come to your planet and take your entire water supply. I'm gonna take all the water off your planet." And we just like, dang, she did that. We don't even like, we don't really blink. We just like, dang, for real. And like, we don't. It's so trivial that we don't even go back. We don't even like. People didn't even leave. Like, dang, what happened to them? Did he survive? Did they all die? We don't even.
I imagine that planet should still have water, since what was it? Carol said that one was like 80% water. I can't imagine the planet that the Kree were from. I feel like that one was probably more like Earth. Like, I feel like 80% would have been too much if they had taken all the water back to that planet.
Yeah, but if you're taking it off of a planet that survives off of 80% water, like that would still like cripple.
It'll cripple them, yeah.
Also, they were still there fighting them, though. Like when Carol and them left, they were still in a fight, bro. It's a war. Like who knows? Like what I'm saying is, for all they know, the prince died fighting in that battle. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that, like,
they didn't go back and just, even in a montage, they didn't go back and just show them recovering from the battle or anything like that. It's just left to nothing. Yeah.
Nothing, dog. It wasn't even like, it doesn't even get the dignity of like a slow-mo shot. I'm like, look at the devastation. Nah, they just like, we about to take we about to take all their water. And for real, like, how big is that planet, Jokes? Exactly. You don't know. So what I'm saying is, that one is 90% water, but it's the size of our moon, and the planet they're trying to fill is the size of Earth. I mean, that might be all they water. Like, I'm just saying it. Like,
you don't need all the details, specifics, but put something out there
like that
to just have those.
No, listen. It's also really stupid anyway, because it's kind of like, how can you go to a planet and just take their atmosphere and just give them breathable air, and then go to another joint and just take their water? Why couldn't you go to that joint and take their atmosphere?
Take all of it together. Like, you got a sun, you got water, you got atmosphere. Oh, y'all done.
And I want you to know, hey, dog, that entire planet, it was sunny as out there.
Yeah. Hey, it was a beautiful day on the beach, bro.
Bro. Let's just go knock it all out. Like, I don't understand.
That's a vacation planet.
It's just, again, like, the stakes the high stakes don't feel high anymore. The threats don't really feel threatening anymore.
I think that'll change.
Yeah,
I think it'll change going forward. Like I'm
not saying you're wrong. I think my point is that I think this movie feels like it's a cool movie. It's fun. It's in the middle, right? For real. And in the long and short of it, I think that the reason why this movie, like, people seem to like it, but people are like, I don't even care if I go see it or not, is because of that. I think it's not necessarily a fault of the movie or the movie not being good. I think that when you look at it in the grand scheme of all the things that have happened in the MCU and how it falls into the fold between shows and movies and what we've already seen, that it is much more difficult to write something and have people who have the kind of powers that they have, and it still seem like a threat if you don't do something tricky, like have it so that their powers have to make them switch or something like that, right? Because otherwise, Carol could have banged this joint out by herself easy, which is what she's been doing.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So the way that it happened forced her to have to adjust the way that she had to attack it. And I do feel like they don't necessarily lean on that quite enough. The truth of the matter is, them fixing this was relatively easy, even though a lot of life was lost doing it. And it should have been easy because this young is not really a threat. She just been mad for 30 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, she been mad for 30 years. They planet been devastated for 30 years. And it's like, all right, well, it was your fault. And I don't even really feel like in a lot of ways they lean quite on that enough in terms of, like, again, like what it takes to be a hero and being whatever. And she just went off and kind of was like, I'm angry, so I'm just going to stop this thing that's a problem, not realizing that devastated the planet, right?
Yeah.
So I just think that's a place where we are. I like the movie, right? But I don't, and I do think that this movie, because of things that they did, and we're gonna get into the end credit scenes and all that, is important in some of the biggest ways ever to the remainder of the MCU, including things that are not announced. And that feels exciting.
100%.
But it's just the end credit scene, and they could have stuck that joint on almost anything. For real, for real. They could have put it on almost anything and done the same thing. So this movie, to me, does not feel like something I feel like I need to recommend. Like right now, I can't say like, oh, you need to watch this joint. UMCU, you got to watch it. Like, and I think it's because like it doesn't have like there's not enough. Again, I don't think it's a bad movie. I enjoyed the movie, but like if somebody's like, yo, should I go see that joint? What I feel like I would say to people is, hey, dog, you need to see the end credit. And like I'm sure you can go watch that joint online right now.
Oh yeah,
and you know what I'm saying? So, and I think that's part of what the problem is. I don't necessarily think that is a fault of this movie. I think it's just a fault of the landscape we're in right now. Does that, you know what I'm saying, make sense?
Understand.
Let's talk end credits so we can get out of here. Jokes, you got real excited, so I'm just gonna let you, you know what I'm saying? Because you know how you like to spoil stuff. So like I want you to have the moment.
I mean, this is Spoiler Boys, so I think this is the perfect
correct. That's just
do that.
Which is kind of your fault we decided to do it. This is
right.
Kind of you needed this so that you wouldn't do this to us. So like thank you for that.
But the after credit scene. So obviously we see Monica wake up someplace. So obviously she's in another parallel universe, whatever it may be. She wakes up and looks like she's like in a hospital bed or wherever, you know, confused. So she wakes up. And the first thing you said,
wouldn't you be?
Oh, very much so.
Okay.
And the first thing that she sees to her is her mother. And so first thing she does is she completely breaks down, you know, Mom, like, I love you. Like, always, like, I can see you. But clearly, this is not her mother because she's saying, I don't know you. And things are getting a little tense, a little weird for a second. Next thing, we hear a voice, deep voice. And, you know, for a second, I was like, I think I know that voice. Wasn't quite sure. But the next thing you know, the homie Beast shows up on screen. And it was like, oh, we're doing this already. Camera pans back for a second, and we can clearly see that we are in the X Mansion because we have the typical X-Men door that we have seen in all of the other X-Men movies when they've been in the house. And Beast is already on it. and established, and this word is going to be a thing going forward now. And this dude specifically says that, oh, you're from an adjacent universe. We just heard this in Loki. But Beast apparently already knows what is happening and what's going on, almost like either he's already experienced this before, or he's just Beast and he's smart and he just figured this thing out.
He said, which is clearly impossible. Like he followed that up with like, which is clearly impossible. So so that can't be what happened. Like, so he's not on top of it. Like he's right, but he don't know he is, and he don't know why, which is Beast of him. And it's not just Beast. It's Kelsey Grammer.
Yes, I was gonna get to it. Yes.
Yes.
So I'm with it.
I'm with it. And then we do see, so I believe, because I Polaris, I believe is what she
binary.
No,
binary.
Binary. I don't know binary, but I know it was a Polaris.
I knew it was one. I didn't remember exactly what her name was, because you see the suit, which is clearly it's pulled almost right pretty much out of the comic with a few little changes to the suit. But clearly she's another variant. So like, interesting. Whatever. We'll see how this will play out. But clearly we are in
was a form of Captain
Marvel. That's why
not that ability, they invited her to join the X-Men. She declined it. But they invited her to join the X-Men in the comics.
Yeah.
When she got that. And I guess in this universe, she accepted it. You know what I mean? Also, she's black, so that's another thing. But like, but yeah, so I mean, obviously, our character, who they never give a name.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed, but I'm not anymore. That the whole time of the movie, once they all get together, like Miss Marvel was trying to give her a name. And coming with all these crazy names, like at some point she's gonna call her Photon.
I was waiting for it.
At the end, I thought she was gonna do it and did it. So I was like, okay. When it didn't happen, like maybe later down the line when we get to the Avengers movies or whatever, she'll finally settle on the name that she wants to give her. You know, say Photon, and she likes it and accepts it. But yeah, go ahead.
Maybe it won't matter because she's not there anymore.
She might come
she'll
back.
Get the name. I guess she'll get the name over in that universe. But we are clearly in the universe that the X-Men exist in.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that we're in the Deadpool universe. I'm assuming that this Beast is a Beast at the X-Mansion where Deadpool is, and we know the Deadpool movie's getting ready to come out. Like we know that Deadpool 3 is they're shooting, and they're supposed to bring a bunch of people back, and there's supposed to be a bunch of multi-universal stuff. And I just think that that's what it is. So she could end up, as soon as that movie coming out, be back in that universe in some way, or it could just be that we're begin to see these other universes as they exist before we,
which I would love to see that. I would,
and just bring everything back. Again, the Madam Web joint dropped today, so clearly they're going to continue to, play with the multiverse and keep doing, stuff. So,
if I can, as much as I love that end credit scene, the post-credit scene before that.
Well, the one that was tied into the movie itself. Yeah,
like once that ends and they cut into going into like somebody's going to the apartment or whatever, I thought that's where Kamala's friend, that's where he was going to show up. Like she was going to be excited to come back and show him like what she's been doing and everything.
Oh, Bruno?
Yes, Bruno. Yeah, that's what I thought it was. But the second we saw Kate
Bishop, I was like,
5 other people like yelled, and I was like, "Young Avengers!" I just screamed out like, "We're about to do it!" As soon as I saw Kamala sitting down thinking she was Nick Fury, I started dying laughing. I was like, "Here we go!" I was like, "Here we go!" So I was so excited to see that
on my couch. Oh Lord!
Yeah, like there's a lot of young people with powers nowadays.
Yep. And
like,
she broke it down.
I was like, this is what we have been talking about for a long time now. They're bringing them in here, and now we're seeing it come to fruition. That's probably one of those movies they didn't put a title yet. That they announced. So I'm I was super excited when I saw that.
I mean, I'll be honest. There's a part of me that feels like they may not call them Young Avengers.
They may be like
Maybe
an
not.
A-Force almost. Like
They might be. They might just be the Avengers. Like it might just be that that's
too.
what they do. You know what I'm saying? And so it's possible it is announced. You know what I'm saying? Like she does say in the scene, she does says, "Oh, and I heard Ant-Man got a daughter."
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So again, you know, we going that route. We know Isaiah is in the MCU. Like Isaiah exists in the MCU. Again, we had Scar and She-Hulk. So we know they've been dropping the seeds. The characters have been around for a couple of years now. You know what I mean? So her kind of, again, the development of her character, though it does happen very quickly, almost too quickly in this movie, coming back to Earth alone on the ship and having to be the one to say to Nick, "We lost Monica."
Yeah.
That's a team leader move.
Yeah.
That's a thing that that's like nothing prepares you for that. You don't, you know what I mean? Like that's just
she sold that. Yeah, having to walk past her mother, like I can't right now. I gotta go talk to Nick. Like
they hug, and Nick. You saw Nick just hit. You just saw Nick hit the come here right quick.
Yeah.
What happened? He said, "What happened?" She had to tell him, right? And where's Carol? She had to go take care of something. She had to go fulfill a promise. You know what I mean? It's not even like I'm gonna tell you exactly what it is. That is her character coming into a leadership role. Like it just really is. Her making the hard decision. The things that Loki just did in his show, learning to do the sacrifice, to make the hard decision. That's why you get the big chair. That moment of like, I know that this is Captain Marvel and I know she's super powerful and she can do all these things. I'm about to press this button though. You know what I'm saying? And just making that decision and then literally standing up to her idol and saying, I made the hard call because A, B, and C, right? As a teenager with some powers who is coming into a leadership role. It is important to have seen her make those moves. So like, if they continue this arc of her being the new Coulson and kind of being the recruiter,
right,
and showing up in other things or whatever, I think it'll be dope to see it. And I think that having that development of her as a character really begin to kind of take these other people who maybe have some experiences, but again, have not done what she's done. They have not traveled the multiverse. They have not traveled through space and time.
Even the prospect of seeing, like you're saying, how she's handled all this up to now and what's going to happen until she starts recruiting people. Like, but then seeing her in that type of role, knowing her personality, I think would be hilarious. Like, I think it would be great.
I do too. I think it'll be great for her, and I think it'll be great for her development. And that is, again, probably my favorite thing about this movie is them really developing that character quickly out of the Peter Parker Iron Man thing.
Gotcha.
They're like, I can't do anything without your permission kind of thing, where she just steps up and makes a decision because that's what needs to happen, right? And so,
she was throwing
you know, also she has outside her. Yeah, she got to deal with it. So, let's go back around and get grades, and let's get out of here. Jokes, where are you?
I'm still at a 7.
Okay, Sin?
I'm still at an 8.
And I am still at a 7.5. I don't feel any differently about it than I did when we came in.
I still think that's a good range though. 7, 7.5, 8. I think that's still
we sit in that pocket. Yeah, that's good.
7, 8 is good.
Yeah,
I don't think it's great.
Yeah, but it's good.
But it's good. Yeah, it's good. So yeah, I do think if you're not pressed about it, you can wait for it to come home. I don't think you like. It's not a joint where I'm like, yo, you need to go to the movies to see this right now.
Especially
unless you
just spoiler boy
try to avoid spoilers. But the only real spoiler to avoid would be for the end credits, which So yeah, I thought it was cool. I enjoyed it. We're gonna wrap this up. This has been your episode of Spoiler Boys for The Marvels. Look for us to. We gotta do Invincible. And apparently 9 days in a row, we got
What if?
Coming. It's just getting really real. So stay tuned for more Spoiler Boys. We greatly appreciate it. For the Patreon members that are here and that are watching live right now, thank you for doing that. Please make sure you give us our feedback on how this is working for you so that we can continue to improve upon it going forward, because clearly we have a lot of episodes we got to be doing really soon. So having said that, for myself, Gage, for Jokes, and for Sin, again, this has been your episode of Spoiler Boys for The Marvels. We are out. Toodles and loos.
Loading snacks.